society.
What's up, basketball fans? We are in the NBA season. It is the first week, and tomorrow's Halloween. I want to give you all a happy Halloween. Since the show's only on Friday, we don't have a Halloween one. So, hope you guys have a great Halloween. Stay safe, all that kind of stuff. This is Alex Fishbein, as usual, for the Fish's Friday Rant. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about some Halloween costumes from some NBA players, both past and present. And we're going to talk about the first week. We're going to dive into some game analysis. Anyway, to start off, obviously, with the costumes. The first one, I think, is pretty hilarious. Now, obviously, this is the Celtics from before, when they had Paul Pierce and Rajon Rondo. But, I mean, you got some really good costumes in here. You got Rondo as Tiger Woods with the sling on, which I think, like, that's great. That's hilarious. And you also got Paul Pierce in the frog costume, which is just... that one has been a popular one for a while now. Pretty sure that's Big Baby dressed up as a baby. And it... There's just a lot going on in this picture, and it's hilarious. I really wish that a lot of these guys would show some more pictures. Like now, like I wish teams would dress up for Halloween together, kind of like the Celtics did back then. Because I mean, it's just gold. I mean, like that stuff is great. Speaking of teams dressing up together, the next one is another older one, and it's the Spurs, and you got Kawhi Leonard in what looks like a Barnacle Boy costume from SpongeBob, and then you got Manu Ginobili in the Buzz Lightyear, which, I mean, his face and everything makes that costume great. And you also have Balotelli in the Mario outfit, because, you know, why not? Like, that fits perfectly. That's amazing. And I mean, definitely for this one, I really think the funniest one has to be Kawhi Leonard, because I would have never imagined him in a Barnacle Boy costume ever. Like, I never even thought that would cross his mind. Especially because when there have been things where the Spurs are like, oh, he's all basketball all the time, like he doesn't joke around about it, anything. And then you got him in like his Sailor Barnacle Boy outfit, and it just, that kills me. Anyway, a more recent one, which I actually think was a really good costume. Dirk dressed up as Lurch from the Addams Family. If you haven't seen the Addams Family, Lurch is the butler. He's like a real tall, big, zombie-looking guy. And that, I mean, it really looked like Dirk was spot on with this outfit. He did a great job with it. And, I mean, got a nice-looking girl for Mrs. Addams. And just throwing that out there, you know? Anyway, so Halloween, obviously a fun time, especially in the NBA, everywhere. The guys like to have fun with it, and why not? I mean, they should have fun with it, you know? All of us should have fun occasionally, once in a while, at the very least. So, I hope you guys have a great Halloween. So, let's jump into the first week of the NBA. Obviously, the first three games on opening night, you had Pistons, Hawks, Cavs, Bulls, and you also had Pelicans, Warriors. So, my initial reactions on each game. Pistons, I thought, played very well. They ended up beating the Hawks by 12. the Hawks just really looked out of sync. Guys weren't hitting shots. There just wasn't many positive things about the Hawks in that first game. But the Pistons, on the other hand, I mean, you had Andre Drummond, who came up with a very solid game with 18 points, 19 rebounds. Reggie Jackson helped lead that offense, who did a very good job himself. And they just looked really fluid. They looked like they had the cohesion that they needed. And it just really looked like Stan Van Gundy was doing a great job with this team. Which, personally, I've said before, I think Stan Van Gundy will do a great job with this team. Because he knows how to coach the, like, kind of younger core guys who are still on the uprise in the league, but they're not, like, the raw rookies. You know what I mean? So, this Pistons team looks to be on the rise. They also won their second game against the Jazz. They eked that out at the end. They had to play, like, all that foul ball and everything, try and get the foul shots, and Detroit kept hitting them, so they put the game on ice and won that one as well. So they've beaten two pretty good teams. I mean, everyone's had the Jazz as like a sleeper pick to get into the playoffs in the Western Conference, and the Hawks were the number 1 seed last year, and a lot of people are predicting they'll be a top 5 team this year as well. So those are two quality teams that the Pistons took advantage of in the beginning of the season to beat them and go to 2-0. But going on to the Cavs and Bulls game, obviously this one was going to be a little rough for the Cavs. Hold on. I gotta take this off. That was starting to get, like, a little itchy and in the way. Anyway, the Cavs obviously weren't going to be exactly what everyone wanted them to be. I mean, they're losing Shumpert, who is their best defender. And they were also without Kyrie Irving, who's the starting point guard. So it's going to be tough, especially facing a Bulls team who's looking to be a top 3 seed again and now has this new up-tempo offense that really gets the ball moving. And Derrick Rose and all of those guys are back and they're healthy. And they have more people coming in off the bench now with Doug McDermott playing more minutes. And Bobby Portis maybe getting in on the action as well. So it was an uphill battle from the start for the Cavs. And obviously the Bulls ended up winning that by 2 points from like a last minute inbound play that Butler was able to break up and knock it down the court so the Cavs couldn't score on it. And really what I got out of this game is the Bulls played some good defense, but it wasn't that same kind of defense that Thibodeau had when he was the coach. And that's going to happen because Hoiberg is really all about, I mean, I don't want to say all about, but his big thing is offense. He's got that paced offense that really gets the ball moving, gets people going quick. So he doesn't have that same kind of defensive coach mentality that Thibodeau had. So the defense is going to take a little bit of a hit. They're not going to be, most likely, they're not going to be like a top 3 defense like they have been in years past. But as their defense kind of regresses a little bit, their offense will improve. Because, I mean, Thibodeau's offense was, it was okay. And Hoiberg looks to improve that greatly. And so far, their offense has looked decent. I mean, it hasn't looked like super yet because they're still growing. They're still understanding the offense. They're still understanding what their role is in this offense. So it's going to take some time to really see what the Bulls are going to give us. And the nightcap of the opening night was Warriors-Pelicans. I'm pretty sure everyone had the Warriors winning from the start, especially now with all these injuries to the Pelicans without Tyreek and all of those guys. It was just, Anthony Davis is going to be a great player. He is a great player already, but he can't do everything himself. He's an outstanding player, but as a big man, it's really hard to carry the entire team to the playoffs because especially in a really tough conference like the West, it's going to be hard because he doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time. You still have to the point guard still has to give him the ball. So whereas guys like Allen Iverson and LeBron and all those guys could carry their teams with a very average or below average supporting cast, Anthony Davis can't do that as well because he's not the ball handler. He's not the primary ball handler is what I'm trying to say. So it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for this team. But with a new coach, the defense should be getting better, and we'll have to see what happens. But these injuries that the Pelicans had are going to take a toll. But the Warriors, Steph Curry came out and played like the MVP. He destroyed the Pelicans in the first quarter, ended with 40 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and the top performer actually for the Pelicans was Ish Smith, who previously was on the Sixers last season. He ended up with 17 points, 2 rebounds, 9 assists, and I mean, what else can you say about the Warriors? They came out, they took care of business, they did exactly what everyone was expecting and wanted them to do. So, I mean, they're just doing their job. That's what happened. And then from Wednesday, there was a big slate of games, which was awesome. You had the Magic and the Wizards go up against each other. It was a bit of a low-scoring game, but there was a lot of highlight plays in there. You had Aaron Gordon dunking on Bradley Beal. You had Mario Hezonja hitting some big threes. You had the John Wall and the Wizards making some big plays down the stretch. Wizards ended up taking that one by a point, so they started the season off with a win. And the Wizards really look like they could be a top 3 seed in the East themselves, especially if one of those top 3, like Atlanta or even Chicago, or maybe even Cleveland, if they decide to coast for a while. If they drop a little bit, I could definitely see the Wizards taking like that 3rd seed in the East. And then you had Heat and Hornets, and for the Heat, Justice Winslow looked great for them. I mean, he looked like he's going to be a player. He had an awesome dunk, and he looked like he's going to ball. Obviously that kid is a steal. They got him at the 10th pick, and Winslow was looked at as like one of the best small forwards in the draft. And now you pair him up with Dragic, Wade, Deng, Bosh, Whiteside, and all of those guys. He's going to learn a lot. He's going to learn a ton from Wade, at least. And he's in a very nice environment. He's in a winning environment and a winning franchise, especially over the last decade. So a lot of things are pointing to positive signs for Justice Winslow. The biggest surprise to me on Wednesday night was the fact that the Nuggets beat the Rockets by 20. Now, I know some guys weren't playing, but there's no way that I thought the Nuggets were... I didn't even think the Nuggets were going to win, let alone win by 20. And Moutier actually did look very good. There was some plays where, you just saw his passing ability on display, and it was like, wow. How did he find that guy? Or how did he get that pass there? He still did end up with 11 turnovers. But a rookie point guard who's expected to start and initiate and lead the offense, it's going to be rough. It's always going to be a tough time. But there was still some times in there that it was like, wow, Moutier did that? How did he do that? And it's going to be interesting to see this kid play as the season progresses. But for the Rockets, they definitely got to do better than that. The Rockets should have destroyed the Nuggets, and instead they got destroyed themselves. So that's definitely something to look at as well. One of the big games, the Thunder beat the Spurs, let alone, even though Kawhi Leonard had a career night with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 steals. Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were not going to be denied on their opening game, and they came out to play. Simple as that. They just came out. They weren't going to lose this game, and they led the Thunder to the 6-point win. Kawhi Leonard had some great plays on defense, one of them blocking Kevin Durant on a jump shot. But, I mean, that's what you come to expect. He just won Defensive Player of the Year, so he could win it again. As far as I would say, he could definitely win it again, even this year or next year. He's that good of a defensive player, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Another entertaining game was the Mavericks against the Suns, just because, I'm sorry. Not the Mavericks and Suns. I mean, the Mavericks still won by a good amount. But personally, I thought the entertaining game was Trailblazers-Pelicans, not because it was a very close game, but because C.J. McCollum, of all people, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I would never expect C.J. McCollum to go off for 37 points, especially against the Pelicans when you have Anthony Davis in the middle and you have some guys like Gordon on the outside who can play defense. But McCollum went off for 22 in the first quarter, pulling off his best Steph Curry impression from the night before, and ended with 37, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. Obviously, he's looking at a bigger role now with all of those starters that were shipped out. So, I mean, he's got to play like the main reliever to Damian Lillard whenever Damian Lillard starts to get tired. So, this game from C.J. McCollum is definitely promising. And, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see many more 30-plus point games out of him, but we should see some solid games out of C.J. McCollum. But that does it for me, guys. Thank you for listening and watching another episode of Fisch's Friday Rant on our YouTube and on our SoundCloud. And check us out on iTunes as well. We're at The Basketball Society on iTunes with all of our podcasts, Atlantic Files, Brother Kirk's Corner, Fisch's Friday Rant. All of those should have some more coming soon as well. And make sure you check out the website, www.basketball-society.com. And check out our Twitter at @bballsociety_. Thank you guys. I love you all for listening and watching and supporting our site and our podcasts. Hope you all have a safe Halloween, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.